Alpha.
All right. Okay, we are rolling. So we're talking documentary filmmaking, and specifically, what is my creative process in making documentary films? I think I'd like to start from the place where my favorite place, and that's saying that filmmaking is not about filmmaking. I know that sounds like a confusing statement, but it's really simple. Filmmaking is not about the technicalities of filmmaking. It's not about cameras, it's not about lenses, it's not about audio equipment and all those things. Filmmaking is actually documenting life. Filmmaking is about capturing moments that either simulate life or, actually, capturing life as it happens. And documentary filmmaking is interesting. It's storytelling about things that actually happened. But over time, I think documentary filmmaking has moved from just being verite. And when I say verite, I mean like capturing things as they happen. There's still that aspect of documentary filmmaking, but now I think there's a more, for want of a better way to say it, cinematic approach towards documentary filmmaking, because there's a whole lot of creativity and dynamism that we can now bring into the documentary filmmaking space, which is making it more interesting. I think documentary films are becoming more engaging now. And I just forgot, I've been wearing my sunglasses. Maybe I'll keep them on. What do you think? I think I look cool. I don't know, this is... Okay, so back to the matter here. I hope you are not taking me on serious because I'm wearing sunglasses. Light's really a lot. So, pardon me. Okay, so a lot of creativity coming in. And it has advantages, I think it's increasing the engagement and it's increasing the audience base of enthusiasts and those who are getting more and more into documentary filmmaking, because we have the advantage now of telling stories in very, very exciting ways, because as opposed to making documentaries from just a purely academic viewpoint, there's a whole lot of regular feature film and cinematography approaches that are being brought into documentary filmmaking now. So it's an exciting time to be a documentary filmmaker. Where I usually start from in making documentary films is the idea. So I find something that piques my interest and I say, okay, so how do I tell this story? And in trying to answer that question of how do I tell this story, the very first thing for me is research. Personally, I love research. I just love knowing more about stuff. And I think that's why I live by the axiom that filmmaking is not about filmmaking. I love reading a lot, so when I discover a subject matter I want to tell a story about, I'm going to go in hard, man. I'm going to read reviews online, I'm going to read books, I'm going to read as many things as possible as I can about that subject matter, and I just like to get more and more informed about it. And I think it's in that process of researching that I start finding those unique story angles, that I could tell the story from. Because this is the thing for me about documentary filmmaking. It's not just news reporting, like you are just saying what you saw. It's not just about that. It's not about doctoring reality also. That's a different thing. It's about telling a story in the most comprehensive and digestible way. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, do you agree? Yeah. Okay, yeah. At times, when you just report something as you saw it, then it lacks context. It lacks content, even content and context. So those things are important, to give context to content. So that's where you need to bring in the mechanisms of, creative storytelling and cinematography and all that. So first thing, get the idea, research. Then after you've done your research, I think it's at that point you now start deciding on the structure of the story. Because even if you are, as it were, reporting life, you have to do it in a very comprehensive way. So though it's documentary film, it's non-fiction, but you need to have some guardrails, as in you can't leave it too open-ended. There has to be some start point, there has to be a mid, and there has to be a resolve. In making fiction pieces, you can actually predetermine where all these points are. But for documentary filmmaking, there's always the element of surprise. Things can spring up on you and you are asking yourself, what am I doing? At some point, and the story might become so, might look unending. But so you have to from the jump determine in kind of a way that, okay, at this point, this is where I'll leave the story. So it might end on a cliffhanger or something. It might end on the note of so many questions, but you have to have that guardrail. You need to come in at some point, tell the story in such a way that it ascends, reaches some climax, and starts coming down to resolve. That normal story arc. It applies somehow. And finding where these points are in your storytelling is where the real genius comes in. So how do you find this? I think it comes about from really giving yourself time to observe and immerse yourself in the world of the story that you are going to tell. I won't even lie to you, it's not an easy process, and it takes time. Sometimes you might get so much into the thick of it that you are almost lost. And I think that's the reason you need to determine from the jump, where is this thing going to end, as it were? Where do I stop telling this story? So after you've decided that, I think you can now move on to the more technical aspects of how you are going to tell these stories, the tools, as it were, that you are going to employ. Make your choice on cameras that you are going to shoot with, choice of lenses you are going to use, the kind of audio gear and all that. Are you going to have a massive crew? What's the size of your crew going to be? Is it just, are you going to shoot yourself? Is it run and gun? Are you going to have talking heads? There's a whole bunch of things to decide, but depending on a number of factors like budget, the time you have, the resources you have available to you, I think those things will come into play in determining what you have. But what would I subscribe to? In my experience, having some kind of crew helps. Truly speaking, having a crew, no matter how small the crew is, helps, because it can become very overwhelming very quickly, and it can be a lot of work if you are doing everything yourself. I fell in love with Sony, this Sony line of cameras, from personal experience. Being in those situations where you need something that's lightweight, run and gun type situation, low light abilities and all that, having that camera system that can be with you always, in terms of small compact camera bodies, light enough to manipulate in those spaces, and having you know, the fascinating thing about Sony, one very fascinating thing is the lens systems. The fact that you can it's one mount for any type of Sony camera is just absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, it's the E-mount, and once you have a camera body, any Sony lens, E-mount, and you are good, you know. So that is, I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, I know low-key, legit, other camera companies, you know, they wish they could do what Sony was doing in that regard, because I mean, it's just fascinating. One camera body, any lens goes in. It takes in any lens. It's absolutely fantastic. I've been working with a range of lenses. I've been working with the 50mm, the 70 to 200 G Master. I've also been working with the 16 to 35. Yeah, great lenses, great lens choices. Between these three lenses, life has been good. Yeah, and so I think once you're done with those technical aspects of it, I mean, you're on the road from that time on. You're on the road, you're shooting. Make sure you have a system. You devise a system for backing up your dailies, as in your assets. And we go on to the aspects of after production is done, post-production and all that. Luckily, the assets you get from working with Sony, as in straight out of the camera, I'm telling you, your pictures are looking good. Yeah, if you decide you want to do some more work in terms of post-production and all that, yeah, you're good, because you have a lot of good assets to work with. That's my process in a nutshell. Have you been informed? Have you learned something? I hope you have, but just in case you haven't, play it back again. Maybe you hear something that you did not get before. And if my sunglasses were distracting, I am sorry.